I guess it's time. What's goody? What's goody? Welcome back to the channel. It's my good friend Ron. This is the first, I was gonna say annual, but this is the first episode of Anime Blitz. And this is traveling Anime Blitz. I'll be in different places and on different Fridays. Sometimes here, sometimes my house, sometimes somewhere else. But
Anime Blitzo.
But it'll be always Anime Blitzo.
Yep.
Pretty much as you can read in the title screen, it's all Dragon Ball. Topic that we're going to talk about is Dragon Ball Z. It's an anime we all grew up with, and we love pretty much Dragon Ball Z. And we're going to talk about the arcs, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the arcs. I think we said we were going to skip Dragon Ball just because Dragon Ball is like part of the childhood, like, you know, growing up and whatnot, but it's like, it's been so long since like any of us have like truly went back and watched Dragon Ball. Like, Z is definitely like a little more fresh, and then obviously Super, like being out now, is definitely like on the top of everybody's mind. So I think it's just best to stick with that, and then anything canon, GT, trash, and
Heroes promotional.
Heroes is promotional, but it has some good content. It's not great, but it's got some good content. And then, I mean, I love the Broly movies. Some people hate them, some people love them. But my boy.
Yeah, we're bringing the pops into it also. We got a couple of Dragon Ball Z pops in it. So, yeah, we'll go from beginning. You want me to start or you'll start? Favorite arc? Or you want to do favorite or least favorite?
I guess we'll start with favorites. I definitely got to think about which one's my least favorite because it's
yeah, it was
you know, some few far between. But
all right, so I'll go first then. I'll choose my favorite arc, and that's the Frieza arc was my favorite arc, and the reason it's my favorite is because it was cool. Like they all got together. Vegeta took lead for the most part. Was able to bring Krillin and Gohan with him to Namek while Goku was healing up, and Goku wasn't even healing up yet. He was traveling. He didn't come yet, so he was pretty much coming through space. And the cool thing about that arc is that everyone got into it in that arc. As we can see, like as you see in the future with Super, not a lot of the fighters fight. It's mostly Goku and Vegeta for show. So right now, it's back then when the Frieza arc, it was cool to see Gohan, Piccolo, Vegeta, Goku, Krillin, all of them fight. Even like Neo, they all fought against Frieza's gang and eventually Frieza. So that's what made the arc special to me. And it was the longest arc. It was dry at times.
There's definitely a bunch of filler.
There's definitely some filler stuff in there, but the ultimate goal was pretty cool. And every level of Frieza was pretty much Gohan fought him, Piccolo merged with Neo and fought Frieza. I think it was like Form 2 or 3. I think it was 2. He fought Frieza 2. Gohan fought Form 3. And then Vegeta fought final Frieza. And then when he lost, Goku finally healed up and was able to fight Frieza. And eventually, became Super Saiyan. So I like that arc the most. It was a cool storytelling and cool like how they pretty much came together. And yeah, that'll be my favorite arc in Dragon Ball Z. What about yours?
No doubt. I mean, like I just want to say, like I feel like a bunch of people are gonna share that sentiment because that's literally the first time you really see. That's the first time you see the Super Saiyan transformation.
Yep.
It's hilarious as hell when Vegeta's going around screaming around like, "Oh, I finally attained the Super Saiyan," and then Vegeta shits on his whole entire life and says, "Fuck you." This is it. Vegeta's always getting his hopes dashed, and probably every single arc, like somebody always has to outdo him. He thinks that he becomes the next best, and then he always gets squashed. But I think that arc, like just to speak on it, I think it was just really cool because that's where you truly get to see like Zenkai Boost like introduced, and then you see Gohan's potential being unlocked by what the hell is that the Namekian.
What's his name? Oh, the big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big dude that's sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I forgot his name. But yeah, I get what you're talking about. Yeah, he got his potential unlocked there. And that was the first time you seen like Piccolo and Neo merge. Like it was a Namekian merge, pretty much a fusion.
Right. That's probably the first time that like you actually like truly see some type of fusion. Like that's what starts it. And that's what you see with Dragon Ball. It's just like they kind of just keep going like over like common trends, but like I feel like so many people love this arc so much that this is why Frieza continually gets brought back.
Yeah.
Like obviously we'll touch on that like later, like when we get into Super, but it's just like Frieza keeps coming back.
Yeah.
Now this like transition to like what I'm gonna say is mine is the Cell Games arc. Everything from like the androids leading up to Cell, like that's my favorite, and it's just like stop bringing Frieza back. Cell needs to get some shine. Frieza already got his own damn movie.
Yep.
Came back in the Tournament of Power. We'll talk about that later, but that pisses me off. Like bring Perfect Cell back, man. If there's any better troll, Perfect Cell.
And he can actually train like a Z fighter.
Yeah.
He has the Z genes in him.
Because my thing is, he can get the Zenkai boost, and then it's just like he can even. So Frieza has his transformations. It's just like. What happens if you see like a golden cell? Like I've seen some people like play around like with that online. Like that would be dope. Like there's so much more you could do with Cell. I think Boo definitely got played out, but like that's
kind of like a funny gag right now.
Yeah.
But he's still strong. But I mean, Cell would have been perfect to bring back. Like maybe they'll bring him back in Super. Maybe not. Who knows?
Right.
But I thought that. The Cell games was awesome because you got to see like everyone get trained. It was the first time to see like you stay longer than a day.
Right.
In the
hyperbolic time chamber.
And that was considered like crazy back then. Like,
that's where you see the most growth, like in terms of like the Super Saiyan transformations, because everybody was off trying to do their own thing. So it's like you get in there. This is where you first find out about Future Trunks.
Yep.
Like if you want to combine the Android Saga with the Cell games, because like some people like to call them different things.
Yep.
I think that they're all mashed in as one. So
it transitions well into it. So
right.
there's no like time skip or anything like that. It kind of just merges into it.
But you see Future Trunks and you see him come out with Super Saiyan, where here's Vegeta getting his hopes and dreams dashed again. He's like, who the hell is this guy I ain't never seen? That's a Saiyan.
Yep.
Like just go Super Saiyan and is on par with Goku, my biggest rival. Then, like, you lead into it, you continue, like, going in, you see Vegeta's transformation, and then him trying to become, like, stronger. They go into the hyperbolic time chamber, and they think that they finally achieved the Ascended Saiyan form, him and Future Trunks, which, like, honestly, like, nobody's going to agree with me, but, like, Super Trunks, too, like, even though, like, it's the most useless bullshit form, kind of looks like Broly, like, that's one of my, like, top... I would probably say top 5 transformations.
Oh, when he fought Cell, like that,
yeah.
He was strong enough to beat him, but he was too slow.
He was too slow.
Yeah.
And, like, that's what you see. Like, Vegeta's big-ass final flash. Like, there's so many great moments that, like, came from this arc that, like, I love it. But, you get those transformations, and then, Goku finally learning that the Super Saiyan transformation and how to achieve Super Saiyan 2 is literally by, key control. So it's just staying in our Super Saiyan form and mastering this.
Yep.
Because you got a little glimpse that Gohan was going to turn Super Saiyan 2 when he was in the hyperbolic time chamber. And he's like, Dad, you need to go full go at me or else I'm never going to like achieve this.
And we didn't even know Super Saiyan 2 like existed. Like we didn't know what to call it.
Right.
We thought like, all right, they're just pretty much advancing Super Saiyan, and then we saw Goku, Trunks and Vegeta get buff and fight Cell. But we never like knew like what the next thing was, and then when
we didn't know there was gonna even be one.
Yeah, we didn't know. And then when Gohan finally did it, and he see electricity around, that was the first time we seen electricity around Super Saiyan.
Well, no, because Trunks when he went Super 2,
yeah, electricity around him.
Yeah, he had electricity around him because I remember Krillin almost got electrocuted.
Oh yeah. So he had the power kind of a Super Saiyan.
Of a Super Saiyan 2, he just didn't have the speed because he was just putting too much ki like into his muscles rather than
into like speed and everything else, like the train.
And that balance.
So yeah, so if that was from the potential from Namek, how he got unlocked potential. Gohan always had like a lot of potential.
Yep.
So when you finally see him like let loose,
and
then he just kind of like the android, was it 16? He just said, just let go.
Gohan, let it go. It is not a sin to fight for the right cause. There are those who words alone will not reach. Cell is such a being. I know how you feel, Gohan. You are gentle. You do not like to hurt. I know because I too have learned these feelings. But it is because you cherish life that you must protect it. Ugh. This sentimental downpour is killing me. It's so nice of you to help, 16. But I plan on doing this my way. Please, drop your restraints. Protect the life I love. You have the strength. My scanner sensed it. Just let it go.
And then boom.
You was the pain of loss, man. I was actually like watching a video of Gohan like going Super Saiyan 2 and defeating Cell, and it's like it still brings back like chills.
Yeah, that was
the world's longest like Kamehameha like between him and Cell. Like it's probably like a good 30-40 minutes of them like in the Kamehameha wave.
Yep, and he only had one arm too.
Yep.
Doing that. So for him, because Cell came back too, perfect Cell.
Yep.
Came back, re-energized, and then it took him with Goku's help, and Gohan did it.
It took all of the Z fighters too because like they're like, we're not gonna let Gohan do this alone, and Cell Kamehameha is just blasting them back.
You know who was a low key MVP of that at that end was a Vegeta.
Oh yeah, that final last one he went Super Saiyan, he blasted Cell, and that's when
knocked him out a little bit.
He's like, release it all.
that was cool. That was a good key blast like fight, and then what else? What happened in that? It was cool because again a lot of Z fighters got to fight because Goku got sick.
Yep.
Again, so it wasn't like
that heart disease.
Yep.
So you see Piccolo fuse with Kami.
Yep.
So that's like another
fusion,
permanent fusion.
Yep.
Trying to think. Like you see the relationship between Trunks and Vegeta start to shift, and in a sense you actually see Vegeta as as a person like shift from being a villain into starting to care about others because when Trunks died, like that's when he just goes berserk.
Yeah, so because you started like character development between Vegeta and both like the Namek and the Android series and the Cell games. You could start seeing a little bit of Namek, and then you fully see it.
Right, on Namek he was definitely still like
an
part villain.
Part villain. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely more anti-hero. I still you can't call him an anti-hero now.
No. He's a hero now. Yeah. He still has little tendencies, but he's more pure hero now. He has a family and stuff.
Because he stopped, or he continued being the anti-hero up until his last moment as Majin Vegeta.
I think I finally understand you. Let's go.
What's Vegeta up to, Piccolo? He's crazy. He won't make it. That monster is going to eat him alive.
For the first time, Vegeta is fighting for someone other than himself.
All right, so that was our favorite arcs. Dragon Ball Z had a lot of stuff, good stuff, but I mean, it
was
wasn't
even the same arc, like when Vegeta and Nappa, like you know, come to Earth. That wasn't too big on Raditz, but
that was still cool because that was the first time you got to see someone the same as Goku.
Yeah.
And then because before it was just the Goku show and him doing martial arts and getting trained, and then it was just like him. And then to see somebody like of his own race, and they finally told him like, oh, you're a Saiyan, you're not from here. So he was like, oh, you're an alien.
always after
Yeah. So that was cool because we watching it. You always thought he was a human.
Right.
And then he was a little different, but you didn't know he was like actually alien.
Right.
So it's saying Raditz told him like, hey, I'm your brother.
Yeah, your brother.
You're saying stuff like that. So it's cool to see a family member, and
that's where Piccolo and Goku team up for the first time.
Yep. So yeah, Z had a lot of good things.
It's where Piccolo and Gohan's bond become stronger because Goku just
Gohan's dad.
always dies. It's just like, all right, somebody else take care of my kid. You know what I'm saying? Like leave Chichi at home.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was our two favorite arcs. But